Hello, Epic people, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Epic Begins with One Step Forward. I'm your host, Zander Sprague, and I am so delighted that you're joining me today. I want to start off with our thought of the day. It's called the no exception rule. When you're on your epic journey, you have to commit to it 100%. Otherwise, it's just too difficult. Like anything, if you try and do something 50% of the time, 50%, it just doesn't work as well. But when you're committed 100%, it is so much easier. You're all in. You know what you're doing. You're on your path, and you're following the steps that you need to take. Now, let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you've ever done a job share or a part-time job that is not just, let's say, making coffee or food service, it can be really hard because you're in there trying to get all this work done, but you only have half the time. So it's a lot more stressful. When you're on your epic journey, you have to be 100% committed to it. There has to be no exceptions that you are going to achieve what you want. Certainly, sometimes we don't, but it's not for lack of trying. So I want to have you all incorporate that no exception rule. Now, I love these epic updates that I get to share with you. A while back on my podcast, I had Joe Reitman on. Joe is an actor, producer, director, and his career is really going well. I'm so excited to say that he's getting acting jobs. He's helping out. He runs a really great actors class that helps new actors learn about what it is to be in the industry, learn about how to do auditions, learn about how they need to prepare. And kind of goes back to that no exception rule. When I was talking to him, he was talking about having to commit himself 8 hours a day to his craft so that he could be the best that he could be. So, Joe, good luck and keep up the great work. Now, today, I am so excited to welcome Shantel. Shantel, it is so great to have you here.
Thank you, Zander. Thank you for allowing me to be here on this platform. I'm really excited about today.
That is great. Shantel, tell us a little about who you are and what you do.
I am an author, the author of Influence Yourself in Leadership and Life. I am a global leadership speaker, and I'm also an executive and corporate coach.
Wow, you're doing a lot.
Yes.
So tell me a little about how the book came about, what's in the book.
Definitely. So Influence Yourself in Leadership and Life, this book was just released. And this book really is a testament of me spending over 2 decades working in the corporate world. Working in the corporate world, I had the honor of working with some phenomenal leaders. And then I went to another job, the same industry, but the work, it just wasn't the same. The vibe, it wasn't the same. The culture, it wasn't the same. Then I became obsessed with learning and being disciplined and the best practices for leaders. Mm-hmm. So this book, it really talks about the anatomy of having a bold, confidence leadership approach.
And what are some of the things that make a bold leadership approach? I mean, it's great to say it, but it's another thing to say, oh, I understand what that means.
Exactly. And that brings me to my goal framework. So the G is to galvanize the vision. The vision, that's our North Star. And as we're moving towards that North Star, we need to be reminded why. So I have leaders write down in one sentence what is leading them towards that North Star. And this serves as their manifesto. And I have them communicate this relentlessly. And then the O is to optimize your influence. Leadership is about impact. So I ask leaders to map out their network. Who is their mentors, their allies, their decision makers? And then I want them to build value-driven relationships. And this is with EQ, our soft skills. And then A is to align the actions. I want for leaders to make sure that their energy is going solely towards their goals. And then we can do this by auditing our time, track our work week, track our work month, and then make the necessary adjustments. And then the L is for leveraging your legacy. Let's face it, legacy is the ultimate measure of success. The legacy is the people and the systems that we build because they're going to outlast us. So with the goals framework, not only are professionals, their desires are not only met, but they're multiplied by the people and the systems that they put in place.
Absolutely. And what it sounds like, sort of the underlying theme there, is about creating structure.
Absolutely.
In their day, and I'm a big proponent of that. I talk about how important structure is in your epic goals, and I know in my own life that structure has been so key to me achieving all of the things that I want. And as a mental health professional, I laugh because when I bring up structure, adults are like, oh, no, I don't want any structure. And yet, structure makes us feel comfortable. Psychologically, we feel better when we understand what's going to go on. And so I love, like, organize your day. Yeah. My day is so much easier when I'm able to understand that, at 9 o'clock I'm going to do this. At 9:30 I'm making these phone calls versus I've got 50 things to do. So for you, how are you applying your goals to your own work?
That's the main premise of my work, is that the name of my company is called Wishing You Well in Life. And that's my term of endearment. I'm wishing leaders and their businesses and the economy well. So in order for me to empower them, I myself have got to be empowered. So I have to foster these things as well. And one of the things about having a goal is having a desire. A desire is a lot more deeper than just the goal. So this is my desire to empower leaders, to work with them, not just leaders, but entrepreneurs, executives, solopreneurs. We all need a little bit of help. And since the pandemic, it has shifted individuals towards where they do want to go out on their desire. And they're like, I have a desire to do this. So we have to put together the goals. And so with that being said, I was actually my first client. So I had to implement everything myself.
And I assume that you continue to retain yourself as
right. I'm my own consultant. That's why I talk to myself daily, because I'm always advising myself.
Exactly. So, Shantel, share a little bit of, like, your background. I mean, where did you grow up? Where did you work in the corporate world? Definitely.
So I grew up within the Bay Area, and one of my first jobs was working at Bank of America. And so from there, I just was able to just really, like I said, just really take a deeper dive into learning the aspects of these great, phenomenal leaders. I've worked in the banking industry, finance, advising, consulting, healthcare, and then philanthropy. So working in all of these different industries, it's really taught me a lot. And the one thing that it doesn't matter what industry you're in, it's still people centric. It's still about the people. It's about cultivating that culture so that you're not only able to retain top talent, but you're able to obtain them where they want to be there for a while.
Absolutely. I spent 20 plus years in the corporate world too. And I know that I had two managers that I think back upon and think, that was a really great manager. And when I reflect on that, part of what, like the one manager I remember most and would say, that was the best manager I had, was he did such a great job of helping me stay on task. Mm-hmm. And big corporate world, you get memos that this is changing and right. All of a sudden you're working in a new division and you've done nothing, but they're changing and reorging and stuff. And those would come out, and within like 5 or 10 minutes, we'd get an email from him telling us And he'd say, wind above your head, which simply meant this doesn't affect what you're doing. Don't worry about it. It's good that you know about it. But that, we all have, I'm sure you have a manager or two that you think of and think, wow, that was a really great manager. They took care of me. They listened. They helped propel me. I know the same manager said, I need you to go learn this so that this skill meets the need that he saw 6 months from now. So instead of coming up and going, hey, I need you to do this tomorrow and I don't have that skill set, I had time to learn the skill to meet when that was needed. So do you have any managers you can think of that?
Oh, absolutely. And that just goes back to my first job. The leader, he was absolutely phenomenal. And the one thing about him was that he kept learning. Learning was a lifestyle for him. So within that development, that kept me always having a need and an urge to always continue to be the best. And even as me being an executive and a corporate coach, I have nearly 20 certifications as a coach. A lot of coaches, they only have 1 or 2, but I wanted to be able to future-proof my business so that I'm not only handling issues of today, but I'm also able to look ahead within the future so that I can be the best coach for individuals. Nowadays, the landscape is wide. You have individuals from the silent generation to now we're onboarding Gen Zers.
Yeah.
So we have institutional knowledge and we have these innovative people who have these great ideals. So we're merging them into one. And that goes right back to what the first leader told me. He said, never stay comfortable, always have that urge.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so interesting. I've done coaching myself, and it's interesting the journey that you go on with your clients. Even now that I do counseling, I sit there and say, where we start and where we end, or where we think we're going to end, it's rarely where we think we're going to end, but we're so happy with where we conclude. And you're smiling, and I'm sure you get people and go, I really want to do this, and you think, yeah, absolutely, let's go on this journey. But along the way, you both discovered that what you thought you were really after, maybe it's a job change, maybe it's career satisfaction or whatever, ends up that wasn't really what you were looking for. You were looking for, appreciation from the organization or something. So my question is, how do you bring people on that journey?
I bring people on that journey by definitely asking them, what's that big bang reason for why we're on the journey? Why are we here in this space together? And they tell me that, and then that's how we start to go on the journey. Zander, it's really kind of amazing sometimes because as we're on the journey, they're like, wait a minute, I didn't know I was gonna have to do all this work. And it's like, yes, this is the work that it's gonna take to get you there. So sometimes I might challenge them, they might challenge me. It's like a love-hate relationship a little bit, but when they arrive to that destination, they always get surprised. And it's like, why are you surprised? This is the work that we were doing to get you here. So now that they've had it, they're like, I couldn't believe that I would be able to do it. So I always tell people that it's always good to really notate your desire, your urge, because you will be outnumbered. You know that inner voice that's always our critic that's telling us you can't do this, you can't do that. That voice can be very loud sometimes. And it's not like it's to impact us, but it's trying to keep us in that comfort zone. So I always tell individuals, think of it like a computer. When you're downloading a new system, what do you have to do? You have to reboot the computer. So this is the era where we're rebooting you, so now we can download the new system.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right. There is some discomfort of learning something new, trying something new. As I said, it kind of goes back to structure.
Yes.
Right? I like to use this analogy that when you were in high school, were you particularly stressed about how to get from your first period class to your second period class? No, because you knew where to go.
Right.
So maybe the first week or so where you're trying to figure out how do I get from this classroom to another. But after that, and that's structure. Up until we get into even through college, there's all kinds of structure. oh, I need to take classes, I need to do this. Then we get out into the corporate world, we get out into the work world, and that structure isn't always built in for us.
Right.
And people, I think, sometimes start to flail, and they think, well, why am I flailing around? And I think it's because there's that lack of structure, and they don't realize that they have all the skills to create their structure. They just have to do it themselves. Someone else isn't handing it to them.
Right.
And, I think some of the work I do and that you do are obviously closely aligned of like, what do you mean I have to do work? Well, like anything, yes, in order to achieve your goal,
right,
you've got to do work. You've got to make sure that and it's every day.
Right.
Again, I'll go back to my thought of the day.
That's right.
100% commitment. If you're not committed to it, I don't know, you're not going to be successful. So one of the things that I want to ask you about your journey is you clearly are very motivated and driven, and you've hit a lot of destinations that you set for yourself. What was your feeling? Share with us one sort of major goal that you had for yourself, and when you actually finally achieved it, what was that feeling for you?
The one major goal that I set for myself was just starting my business, Wishing You Well in Life. That was something that I felt that I could do, but I really didn't know if it would be able to be possible. Like, who do I think that I am, leaving the corporate world and now building my own structure, building my own business, where now I'm going to go back and go on stages and speak to thousands of people? Like, how is this even possible? But I didn't really think about all of those things. I didn't focus on what I couldn't do. I focused on what I could do.
Yeah.
So putting that business together, that definitely took some time. I wanted to align it with who I am, with my values. I don't have 10, 14 values. It's just 4 top values. I wanted to align it towards where I would be able to easily attract those executives, those entrepreneurs. And also too, the thing is that, like I said, I wanted to be the best. So within me being the best, by me taking on almost 20 coaching certifications, by the time that I got my 19th certification, I felt so accomplished, and I felt like this is really like the ultimate achievement. I knew I was starting off one place, I just didn't know how it was going to end. And when I came on that ride of just seeing everything come to an end, it was the ultimate praise of success, because I was able to empower my way through.
Absolutely. And it's been my experience that some of these big goals I set for myself, it felt so great to achieve it, but a day later or whatever, okay, I've achieved this. I'll say when I finished my first marathon, unbelievable, lifelong dream, wanted to finish it, finished it, was so excited, but I had, now what? Like, I've achieved this, the goal met, now what? Now as an entrepreneur, we set goals for ourselves, but there is that now what, right? Oh, I want to have 50 clients. Well, okay, you get your 50th client. It's not like you're like, all right, well, that's it.
Right.
I'm done.
Right.
And some people, sometimes you're like, okay, I achieved that. I don't need to do this again. But there is that now what? How have you dealt with that now what?
The thing about it is that I have like a flywheel approach. So if I'm not promoting my book or writing like my next book already, so if I'm not doing that, then I am speaking on different platforms, different podcasts, different TV shows, working myself with different magazines. Then I'm working with my clients. So it's like, if I'm not doing one thing, I'm always pulling to the next chamber. And the exciting part about it is that I'm able to meet individuals like yourself. I'm able to meet individuals globally, locally. And as I start to retain different clients, I'm teaching them things, but they're helping me learn different things as well too. So it's like that now what, it just keeps evolving and evolving so that I'm able to help them solve problems in real time. And that's the gratifying part about it all. So within all of those things that I do, the most gratifying thing is being a teacher. So as a teacher, the now what is, where's my next student?
Absolutely. One of the things that I talk about in my book and I think is so important when we're on our epic journeys, because some of our journeys take a while.
Yes.
are these two words, not yet. Has your book come out? Not yet. Doesn't mean it's not. Because if you say no, it's such a hard ending. Not yet. Kind of, and you talked about, I call them the committee of the people in your head saying all the negative things and telling you can't do it. Kind of quells them down. Yeah, be quiet in there. It's okay, not yet. So my question for you, Shantel, is what's one or two of your not yets? Things, and again, it could be professional or it could be personal. Things that you think of, oh, someday I'd like to do this, or I really want to achieve that.
And you know, I'm just like you, I don't say no to anything as well too, because when I say no, that sends a bad signal to myself, like I'm a failure, like I'm letting myself down. So I never say no. But one of my not yets is going on a book tour, going on a speaking tour, and not just here in the States, but a global tour.
Sure.
I don't think locally, I like to think globally. So, you know, put myself on that platform where I am able to do that tour. I think that that'll be phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great. And I totally believe in you know, your message is not local, it is global.
Yes.
And it's really, really important. One thing that you touched on, and we're joking about, is sort of how we talk negatively to ourselves.
Yes.
And I say all the time, the meanest person in our life is ourself. And stop it. We should be kind to ourselves. And yet, every day, all of us say things that are unkind.
Yes.
And frankly, if our best friend said just one of the things that we say to ourselves, self-doubting, whatever, we'd probably be really devastated.
Absolutely.
So, you know, what do you do, you know, when you find yourself with that kind of that negative self-talk? What do you do to kind of pull yourself out of that?
Well, with the negative self-talk, I always like to say that that's what we call self-sabotage. And we all are in the business of self-sabotage. So when that does happen, I like to say that's a lie. No, it's not. I am more than this. I am great. I'm a conqueror, and I need for you to step aside. I try to minimize that inner voice towards where it's reduced to almost being mute. And sometimes if I really am having a challenging moment, then I will play some music. That way I'm not focused on what's going on in my mind. Now I'm focusing on that music. And I like to have a playlist where it's motivational, it's empowerment, it's some of my favorite songs. I tell people all the time, what was your favorite song when you were growing up? What was your favorite song during this period of your life? What was your favorite song during that period? That's why you can play that playlist and it can bring you back to when you were a child. Because I always tell people there's two people you have to make proud: the child who you were and the adult on who you will be.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more, Shauntel. That absolutely. And music is really powerful. It's
therapeutic.
I know there's songs that you're like, when I hear it, it just motivates me. I feel really great. I'm excited to hear it. Even though I may have heard the song 1,000 times, you're like, oh no, I like that song. And absolutely, put it on your playlist.
Yes, you know, it automatically transports you to that first time when you heard that song. It automatically transports you to that good memory, that good soul. Once you have occupied the mind, it diffuses that inner voice. The inner voice doesn't have a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so your epic journey is, I mean, wow. Look at what you're achieving. And truly a testament to, if you believe it, you can make it happen.
Yes.
And, one of the things I talk about all the time is what I call the 97-3 rule. And that simply is that 97% of our day is actually really good, and up to 3% isn't, doesn't go as well or doesn't happen the way we want it to. Now, yes, there are days where it's larger than 3%, but in general, it's good. And I kind of remind myself when we're talking, you start to go, oh, I didn't do this. I remind myself of all the things I did achieve today.
Right.
And I think that's so important because I think most days we are all achieving so much more, and yet we somehow forget it and just focus on what we didn't do. Oh, I didn't make that phone call. I didn't send that email. I didn't apply for this speaking opportunity. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I wanted to finish up with that I thought was awesome, you got here because you heard about the show and you sent me an email and said, hey, here's what I'm doing. Here's my epic journey. Mm-hmm. Can I be on your TV show?
Right.
Well, here you are. So the answer is yes.
That's right.
If you're doing something really cool, if you're in the Bay Area right now, reach out to me because it is possible. Mm-hmm. I didn't know Shauntel, but she wrote me and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to have you on the show. And I am so thankful that you came in and you were here today. So, believe it or not, our time is almost up, Shauntel.
Oh.
Goes so fast.
It does.
These conversations are great. I do love them. So, just maybe a few last thoughts that you'd like to leave the audience with.
Yeah, I would like to leave the audience with, the thing about it is, don't focus on what you can do. Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do and start to implement that right now. Not one day, but this is day one. You want to be able to challenge yourself every single day to making yourself a better individual. Just drain out that noise and just continue to move forward so that you can embark on your epic adventure.
Well, Shantel, thank you so much for coming in. Truly an epic conversation.
Thank you so much.
And I want to remind everyone that if you're ready to begin your epic journey, go to epicbegins.com. Also remember that you can find me on Instagram, epic_begins. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. Look, just Google my name. You'll find me. I want to help you begin your epic journey today. And as always, I want to remind you that epic choices lead to the epic life that you want.